Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy.
Hey everybody, it's Ruel. Just want to say thanks for being here. It is still the summer of re-ups, and this re-up is something from the past. It's a classic solo episode from June 2015. It's titled, as you can see, Recovery, Monkeys, Self-Glucose Testing, Double Unders, Phone Germs, and Quit Knocking. Well, so enjoy that. If you are a new listener, welcome. This is a snippet of what a solo episode had looked like a couple years ago. And if you are a return listener, thanks for listening. Enjoy the show.
This is Ruel's Running Podcast, episode 44. If you think you're not a runner, think again. In here, everyone's a runner. You may not always be putting one foot in front of the other, but trust me, you are running something. I'm your host, Ruel. Welcome.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in the sky like every single day. All these bits and pieces to construct a song. Get your mind blown. Look into the unknown.
Today's sponsor is Audible.com, who has more than 180,000 audiobooks and spoken word audio products. If you haven't already, get a free audiobook of your choice at www.audibletrial.com/RuelsRunning. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 44. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that you allow me to be a part of your day here at Ruel's Running Podcast. For all the returning listeners, hey guys, thanks for being back and supporting this little show. If you are a new listener, thanks for being here. Please stick around, fasten your seatbelt. I have no idea what I'm about to say, so it may be good, it may be bad. Either way, you're stuck, and you're going to have to ask for help to get out of this mess, this train wreck, which I call the illegitimate childcast of the America's Angriest Trainer. And the reason why I say that is because there is a very important man. His name is Vinny Tortorich. He hosts the Angriest Trainer podcast with his lovely co-host Anna Vocino. And I've had Vinny on the show. He's blessed me early on in this podcast. He blessed me by agreeing to be interviewed by me on this train wreck, Ruel's Running Podcast. And I am very grateful. It got me a chance. It gave me the chance to see if I got what it takes to have a conversation with a very important guy. And yeah, Vinny's important. He may not say so, or maybe he will, but he is definitely to me because he is the creator of what is the NSNG lifestyle, the no sugar, no grains lifestyle. And that is very important for me, because what it's meant for me is it's taught me about eating real food, staying away from sugars, added sugars, sweeteners, staying away from grains, whole wheat grains, processed grains, all of that junk. And it's helped get me to where I feel my best, where I'm healthiest. And along the way, he created his Pure Vitamin Club Daily Multicap, which is something that I take every day, and something that I take as an insurance to ensure that I have, the nutrients and minerals that my body needs to perform at its best. And he's got a book, Fitness Confidential. I can't stop talking about this great man. And currently, this great man is he's currently, and he's talked about it openly on his podcast, his own Angriest Trainer podcast. He's currently recovering from surgery, a shoulder repair, and that's his shoulder is now on its way to allowing him to live the life that he wants to live. And recovery from shoulder surgery is never an easy thing, and I have my experience with shoulder surgery, shoulder repair on my right shoulder, and it's tough, it's painful, it's and if you're a guy, and I know Vinny's this type of guy where he's very independent, he likes to do things on his own, he's a go-to guy. When you're that guy, and you're not able to for a period of time while you recover, you're not able to do what you need to do in your daily life, it's a challenge, and you have to lean on support from your family, your loved ones, your fans. When I was going through surgery years ago, or not surgery, but recovery from surgery, I was a little depressed, but I try to live as much of a normal life as I can, and my wife will, if anybody were to ask her, she'd tell you that I was the guy who with the immobilized right shoulder, but I was still deciding to drive around using a manual stick shift. So that meant I would keep my left hand on the wheel, doing its thing, and then when it was time to shift, I'd take my hand off the wheel temporarily, shift with the same hand, and pop the clutch and hit the gas, and the whole thing. And I needed to have my independence, and even if it meant I was pulling stunts like shifting with my left hand. Here in this part of the world, when you drive, the steering wheel is on the left, and I know there are places in other countries where the steering wheel of the vehicle is on the right. So, my hand furthest from the stick shifter was what I was using to both steer and then shift. But I had a hell of a time right after surgery. When I was able to bathe myself or take a shower, I had a hell of a time trying to do what I normally would do just on my own. I'd have to lean on the support from my wife, or who was my girlfriend at the time, and it was it's nice to get that help. It's humiliating and humbling, and it makes one realize how important it is to have people around you to be able to help. But anyways, I kind of just mumbled off, kind of dribbled off into my own thoughts. But so Vinny had his surgery, I guess recently, and he's recovering, and I've seen video of him because he's messing around with a Periscope. If you guys aren't familiar with Periscope, it's an app. It's I think it's a Twitter app. It allows you to stream and broadcast video to your Twitter followers or anybody else who follows you, and and you can catch it while it's happening live, and then it can be saved somewhere on the cloud, and you can actually retrieve previously broadcasted videos. So yeah, he's I'm able to see him on those video clips. He's looking well. He's on his feet. He's doing his thing. He's awesome. And I don't even understand how I got here, but I just wanted to. I guess he's been on my mind, and that sounds kind of gay, but hey, it's okay. Vinny's a hero of mine, and if that means that I'm sounding gay talking about him, you know what? Then whatever. Vinny's one of my heroes. He's a friend, and I wish him the speediest recovery possible. And I know that what his surgery will mean for him is to be able to do a lot of the things, a lot of the passions in his life, like cycling and other athletic things, that helped make him who he is. He'll be able to do all those things. So awesome. Vinny, if you ever catch this show, I've been rooting for you. I've been, like a lot of your friends and a lot of your followers, just hoping for the best. And it looks like all of those good vibes have done its thing. You're done with it, and now it's all up to you now. Just being that strong person you are to recover and be the best that you can be. Anyways, so here I am, episode 44, folks. Rules Running Podcast. Had to just talk about that for a little bit. Today is not a special podcast. Guest podcast episode. It's not a special guest episode. It's just me on a regular show, just yapping away, as you've already witnessed from whatever this 8 minutes of blah blah blah. Yeah. So I want to give an update, and hopefully, some of these things I talk about, help folks along the way. I have to remind myself quite often that, I can't just talk about my crap. I have to be able to have a message that hopefully, aided by my crap, can help folks along the way one way or another. I'm not anybody special. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who is a recreational runner, who has a family, who is like a lot of folks, who is a health and fitness enthusiast, and just wants to be able to share, and hopefully, as I've said over and over again, hopefully I can use this platform to help folks along the way one way or another. Yeah, sounds good to me. Hopefully it sounds good to you. So I want to start out with a run update. And this is Ruel's Running Podcast, so the new listener may have expectations as far as, getting to hear anything about anything or something about running. And so for the new listener, it's approaching 2 weeks now where I attempted my second attempt at running a 50-mile distance. And long story short, and you can check out previous episodes on my 50-mile update, was that I never got to the 50 mark. I got to 41. Like the previous year, I just got to 41 for whatever reason, and I talk about that in a couple episodes back. But it's okay. It's okay. I look forward to many more runs, and hopefully I'll get that 50 done. Whether it's this year or next, I'll have to work towards it. I'll have to, get my body right, get my mind right most of all, and then make sure I get the logistics and the planning all sorted out ahead of time so that I don't have to worry about those things at the last minute. So anyways, for a while after that 50-mile attempt, I wasn't doing any running. But about about a week after, I was out with the family. So this is sort of like a run update / family play area of update. About a week after, the family, we took a train ride to the nearby professional sporting venue, specifically the Oakland Coliseum, where the Oakland Raiders and the Oakland A's do their thing, right? So we took a train ride to the Oakland Coliseum, and my wife had to pick up some tickets at the kiosk, and at some point, after spending our time just enjoying like the emptiness of such a vast place, which is the Coliseum, I needed to use the restroom, right? And there's no event going on, and I don't have any tickets to. If there was an event, we just wanted to use the kiosk to get tickets there, but I needed the restroom, So there was a couple staff members hanging out outside. They were more like security, making sure that folks like me or my children weren't going to cause any damage or disruption to the massive place, which is the Oakland Coliseum. So I need to tinkle. I need to drain the lizard, and I couldn't just spray the wall. I'd get in trouble. And there's like tons of cameras around, right? I don't want to be like somewhere on I don't know, on the internet. Look at this dude taking a lick on the wall of the Oakland Coliseum. I did not do that. I kindly asked the staff, the two security folks over there, if there was a porta potty down the ramp where they were hanging out at, and they're like, try the other ramp. So there's an opposite ramp that kind of curves along the side of the building, and it's kind of a lengthy ramp, and I just went running down that ramp. My kids attempted to chase after me, and as I ran down, I gestured and hollered back at them, "Stay put." And I ran down, and I spotted the porta potty, and I did my thing, and I was very thankful that the porta potty was there, and it was I have to say, it was very clean. It was like brand new, and unlike a lot of the other porta potties that you get to check out. Anyways, so I did my deed there, and I realized that little run down the ramp made me feel really exhilarated, and then it dawned on me that, hey, I kind of feel recovered here, after a week of not doing anything from that 41 mile run. So I ran up the ramp, and I was like, yeah, for sure, I feel good. My right ankle isn't bugging me the way it used to be, with that tightness and the nagging soreness above the ankle. So yeah, that was sort of like the cool thing. And and you know what? I'm a dork. What did I do? I took a picture of me, the porta potty, not in, but outside the porta potty and the Oakland Coliseum. Yeah, no life. And more recently, and it must have been maybe a week and a half, it was a couple days ago today, I actually did a dedicated run. And this was actually the day of Vinny's surgery. So, my initial idea was, let's go out and run, and it'll make it a nice, easy run. And somewhere along the way out there, I was feeling great, and I was thinking about Vinny, and I'm an idiot, so I decided to change the whole purpose of the run. And I thought, let's Vinny's there, he's laying on a table or something, and they're working on his shoulder, and he's he's going to be going through a lot of these physical things, and and it's not going to be comfortable. So why am I going to make this run an easy run? So, I decided to not make it an easy run, and to pick up the pace, and to go longer than I wanted to. And then along the way, like an idiot, they got me thinking like, oh, I guess I'll be making up those 9 miles that I wasn't able to get done the previous weekend or so to make up 50. So there you go, folks. I heard a little bit so that I could, I guess, in a weird way, hurt along the way as somebody else, and sort of frame it and define it as making up for untouched miles during my last 50-mile attempt. God, I'm an idiot. So, long story short, I ran pretty much 9 miles, and I felt good towards the back end of those 9 miles. I pushed it, and and then guess what? Then my ankle started to tighten up again. So I'm like, okay, I'm not 100%. I was mostly recovered in that area, but yeah, you know, I'm still recovering, but yeah, it felt good. Yeah, so got that done, and that's my run update. And you know, I want to get back to normal running. I mean, like a normal sort of day-to-day type, just leisure running. Nothing that requires me to strap on a pack and, you know, start off in the middle of the night and, you know, coordinate aid. None of that stuff. Just, you know, just regular running. Yep, that's that. Thank you very much. Now, so a little bit of fun. I guess days after my 50 attempt, you know, what I like to do is help my feet recover by kind of let them sort of like splay, let them stretch out, let them just kind of have a lot of flex, you know. So that means I'm wearing my Vibram 5 fingers. I've got the Baquilas, I think they're the model, the lace ones, and I put on my Njinji toe socks. I put on my Vibram 5 fingers, and I use them as the casual shoe. And my feet gets to relax, gets to spread out, gets to stretch out. You know, it feels great. So you know, this one morning I took my kid to preschool, and at the playground, one of his classmates, girl, she, you know, about 4 or 5 years old, you know, and she looks down on my feet and she says, "What are those?" And then I said, "They're gloves. I have hands for feet." And then she says, "Are you a monkey?" And I said, "Yes, I'm a monkey." And she says, "Monkeys can't walk." Yeah, I'm the monkey man with hands as feet, and trying to just freak out the little children with my funny shoes. Yeah. So let's see. I guess on to health. You know what I've been doing lately, and Lonnie Beecham, you know what this is about, because I've been consulting him. He's the man that I need to turn to know more about this stuff, since I interviewed him, and you know, we're in contact pretty easily on messaging and whatnot. So what I've been playing around with is blood glucose meter, or a glucometer. Just curious to find out, you know, what my body is doing by way of blood sugar. When I wake up, fasted, when I eat certain foods, you know. So yeah, I'm kind of getting used to the whole pricking of my finger and you know, tapping the test strips, and you know, seeing what these numbers are all about. You know, it's important for me because I always believe that, you know, I was pre-diabetic, or I'm whatever the hell that means, right? I think if I didn't have a nutritional shift 3 or so years ago, you know, and on this NSNG lifestyle, you know, I'd be in pretty bad shape. And you know, as ugly as it sounds, you know, I know that would be the case, because you know, I've you know, in the past years, I've allowed myself to go up and down in weight and in varying levels of health, and inactivity and activity. You know, a lot of things, and so I know that about me, that I have this ability to eat the wrong things and put on the weight and be unhealthy. But you know, it hasn't been that way for years now because of, you know, this nutritional shift. And you know, I have friends that I still am in contact with, who we pretty much have the same background, you know, same ethnicity, lived on the same island. You know, we partied together. We had meals together. You know, we all, you know, when we celebrated together, we, you know, very similar lifestyles, you know, from the beginning. You know, and sure, now that we're older and we have our own families, our lifestyles are may not be as similar, but, you know, we all pretty much had the same base, I guess, right? And, you know, I can look at, you know, my friends now, and I can see where, you know, if, I don't know, it just sounds awful, but, you know, it's just a way that I sort of reflect on my own changes, my own health, and my own life, and I can see where, you know, if I didn't shift, where I'd be just by looking at all of the folks that I know grew up the same way that I grew up, or that where I grew up the same way they did, you know, and did a lot of the same things, you know, and so I take it really personal, you know. I'm not being offensive in any way, but I take it really personal because, you know, when people that are close to me, I'll use my mom for example, right? She questions why I consume, you know, so much fat, which is healthy fat, but, you know, she's got that mindset that, you know, fat is the enemy, fat is not healthy, you know. You know, she wonders why, you know, I thin out. Why do I lose weight? Why, you know? And I take it personal, right? And I love my mom, but it always blows my mind, right? That the perception of types of food and, you know, with obesity, how it is today, how much more obesity there is, it's like if I was the guy that had not lost the 20, 30 some odd pounds, right? I'd be swollen, I'd be bloated, I'd have poor skin, I'd be inflamed. I have pictures of me, and I look at myself, I'm thinking, oh my God, I look horrible, I look sick, right? Anyways, if I hadn't gone through those changes and I was that person, heavier, bloated, inflamed, sick, not well, you know what, would my mom be concerned, or would she say, oh, you know, not say anything, as if, you know, I'm how I'm supposed to be, I'm supposed to be that way, you know? But I'm not, right? Nobody is supposed to be that way, right? What should, you know, I feel what would be better to hear is, you know, things like, hey, I've noticed you've been leaning out, you know, you look like you look energetic, your skin looks great, you know, how do you feel, you know, what do you eat, that kind of stuff. But it's like, instead I get, you know, basically, it looks like you've lost weight, you know, is it because you're dieting, or is it because you're sick, you know? No, I'm not dieting, and no, I'm not sick, I just eat better, and I live better, and this is my body's response to doing those things, because guess what? Before it, I wasn't well. I wasn't eating well. I was sick, you know? I didn't have, say, a fever or an infection, but I wasn't well. I wasn't the best I could be. So now I'm in that direction. And, yeah. So, coming back around, I'm playing around with the blood glucose meter because I want to know, you know, by eating certain foods, what happens to my blood sugar, and then how long does it take for me to come down? What is sort of like my typical levels, and just have that information, because now it was interesting. You know, I remember one of the first like dinner time meals I had, you know, which is basically, when it's dinner time, it's like it would be my first or my second, you know, feedings of that 24-hour period, because I typically will not have a breakfast because I'm not hungry, and I won't start to get hungry until in the afternoon, so I'll start eating, you know, different phases, like a snack, which leads to having a dinner along the same time my family has dinner. Then I may have like a later meal again, later in the evening. So, you know, I had basically my feeding window, and, you know, I decided to just eat without being too concerned. So I had like a ton of whatever my mom cooked, and then I waited, and then I felt like crap, and then I tested my blood sugar, and I looked at that number, and then I kept note of it, and then every 15 or so minutes I took the blood test again, and I kept track, and I could watch it sort of come down. And then eventually, I'll stop doing these tests and I just go to bed. I wake up and I test again, and I want to see where I'm at. And what I was able to see is based on how I felt after, eating what I ate that night, based on what I ate and how I felt, I can now associate that with a value based on the glucometer. So now what that tells me, I don't have to. Now I know it's important for me. Now I know that if I eat whatever and I start to feel a certain way, I'm pretty sure that my blood glucose level is, high. So, it becomes even more important for me to do everything I can so that I don't eat it in a way where I feel like crap, where I feel the same way, because by avoiding and preventing that in essence helps me keep my blood sugar in check. And I typically don't eat sugar, sweet stuff, and high carb stuff, but every now and then I will have my rice. But and rice doesn't affect me, doesn't make me feel that same way, but it was the dish that I had along with the rice that I know was a problem, because it was a braised beef dish, and I asked my mom a day or two after how it was prepared, what was added to it. So the only things I can think of that may have caused a problem is that she put a little bit of soy sauce, whatever little means, and we know soy sauce, the conventional Kikkoman brand soy sauce, has wheat in it, maybe even sugar. And she used a tomato sauce, and tomato sauce is basically sugar, right? And it may even have added sugar to the pureed tomatoes that make up the sauce. To make tomato sauce, you kind of cook the pureed tomatoes down, you concentrate it, so it's going to be higher in sugar. And I don't know if this had anything to do with it. She put some sweet peas in there as well. I don't know what the sugar value is of sweet peas, but anything that had to do with sweet and grains, or that contain grains as an ingredient, is a culprit. So now I know I ate the dish, and I didn't take it easy, and I knew I can recollect how I felt. Now I can associate, a sensation with high blood sugar levels. And I think just that test alone is awesome to know and have as a gauge to make sure that I keep myself straight. Yeah, cool. And moving right along, this is still along the long side of health, but it's also along the side of fun and play. A while back in the Vinny Tordorich's No Sugar No Grains Facebook group, one of the members, and I've mentioned him before, his name is Chris. I call him Raw Dog. And if you're listening, you know who you are, Raw Dog, Chris. Chris, what did you do, Chris? You know what you did? You posted a video of yourself completing 50 consecutive double unders, if I'm not mistaken. And I was thoroughly impressed and motivated because I love the jump rope. And when I saw your video, Chris, I knew it was something that I wanted to attempt. It's just, I hadn't done any jump roping recently. It's been a while. I've been spending more time just, running here and there, And so what happened? Days go by, weeks go by, a month or so go by, right? And sometime after I guess a week after, my 41 miles, my family, the weather's turning out nice and warm. My family wants to be more active. So, I break out the old equipment, the focus mitts, the tie pads, the jump rope, and I work with my wife, and I have my kids sort of watch what's going on because they're not used to seeing their mom and dad do this type of stuff. My wife and I used to train together, so my wife asked me to help her out, and she wanted to do some pad work, So it's like, okay, why don't we just do the whole sort of like routine, a whole sort of session that we can remember what we used to do before we had kids. So, it starts off with your basic sort of like stretching, get your wrists, your arms, your shoulders, your ankles, your knees, your hips, all that sort of like loose and ready to go, follow up with warm-ups, and that involves, a round or 2 or 3 of skip rope. And, my wife hasn't skip roped in a while, but, muscle memory came back, and she had her session of jump ropes done, and I would do the work alongside with her, so for me it's like the return back to jump rope myself. We're not making it any easier on ourselves too, because we're in the backyard on the grass, and if anybody's jumped rope on grass, that it's not gonna be efficient. You're gonna have to pay attention to how you're allowing the rope to come down. You don't want it to just smash into the grass, because it'll cause the rope to pop back up and mess up your revolutions. So you have to really pay attention to how you're having it come over the ground, between you and the ground, and it means you may even have to have a bit more height in your jump to allow it to clear without being caught up on the grass. So, and these are the old leather jump ropes, right? They're not the speed cable ropes that are popular now. So they're our old ropes from back in the day. And so we do that, and then we're all warmed up, and I have the music playing in the background through the iPhone just to sort of like keep like the tempo going, and and I start doing some pad work with my wife. Oh, we get her hands wrapped. She remembers how to wrap her hands from it's not like that. There's a right way to wrap your hands, right, with hand wraps, and then there's like the doofus way to wrap your hands. The doofus way is, I don't know, just kind of like just wrapping your hand like a bandage, but the way that we learned, in our Muay Thai classes to wrap your hands, you go around the wrist and the palm and in between the fingers and around, there's a proper way to wrap your hands. Anyways, so she remembers how to do that. I'm impressed, and she gets that done when I put on the, what do we have? 12, 14, 16, I can't remember how many ounces the gloves that we trained with. So she's got her gloves on, and I've got the focus mitts, and we're just working, the jab. We're working, her straight and her hooks and her uppercuts. We're just doing your basic boxing moves, and combinations, and she, teaching her reminding her to breathe whenever she punches, and the kids are watching, and the kids, what they're seeing with these combinations and with the gloves, is what they're seeing is, if anybody there has seen Big Hero 6, the movie, which is basically animation, you know what I'm talking about. The beginning of the movie, and if folks wanted to see this and haven't seen it yet, and I'm talking about it, sorry, it's just how it goes, right? In the beginning of the movie, there's a fight. It's a bot fight, right? Where 2 bots are controlled remotely by their owners, and they fight, and one, it's a fight, right? Robots, you get it, right? It's all based on like like a boxing match or an MMA fight or a cage fight or, a gladiator type fight. Anyways, so that's what my little kids, my boys, my 4 and my 6-year-old are seeing. They're saying, "Ooh, it's like bot fighting." So, whenever they get a chance, they'll throw on the gloves, and then they'll pretend they're bots, battling it out. So, anyways, my wife's getting her workout with the pad work, and then she's like, "Okay, now I want to start working on kicks and stuff." So I'm like, "Okay," so I switch it up. I let go of the focus mitts and I break out the Thai pads, which are basically forearm. There are pads that you put in front of your forearms. You hold up and they cover your hands and your fist down to your forearms, past your elbows, and they're popular. When you see like MMA training going on, and guys are doing roundhouse kicks on these specialized pads. They're the same pads that my wife and I trained with, and so we start off with just the knees. So I would tell her like, "Okay, now just remember, I'm not wearing a cup." so I hold up the Thai pad in front of my abdomen, and I position myself in front of her, and I allow her to clinch my head and proceed to do her knee strikes, towards my midsection up against these pads, so that kind of warms her hips and her legs up, and then we work at, okay, let's do push kicks, and then let's do roundhouses. And she's wearing shoes, which we never trained in shoes, and so I had to remind her it's important that when she executes not the push kick but the roundhouse, that her planted foot pivots alongside. A lot of times people make the mistake of they do this roundhouse, but that planted foot never pivots, and that risks injury. You can twist a knee, you could hurt yourself that way. So it was nice to sort of get back into those sort of techniques again, and get her working her roundhouse and her push kicks and her knees and her clinching and her hand work. And so needless to say, she got after over 6 years of not having to do these movements, she remembered enough of it to get reacquainted and started up again. So this is something that as a family we hope to be able to do a bit more regularly, pretty cool. So anyways, coming back around, I'm putting the gear away, and my kids are done playing with the gloves, done playing with the stinky gloves, and and then they're not paying attention to my instructions on on jabs and straights and hooks and uppercuts, that's because they don't care about that stuff. They care about, cocking that arm back and then imagining all of this power being generated, and then suddenly the final blow, and then the bad guy's defeated and destroyed. That's what they're concerned about. So they're done with all of that, and I'm putting all the equipment away, and then, boom, I thought about Chris, Raw Dog. I thought about his challenge. I'm thinking, let's do something. Let's see if I can do this, right? So I prop my phone up somewhere, and I get the leather rope, and hit record, and I do 20 consecutive double unders, right? And then I stop the recording, and I'm not happy. I don't have a lot of room in my phone because I have tons of like images and videos already there, so I wiped it out. Then I'm like, okay, one more try, right? One more try at 50. It's like a theme of my life, right? Attempt at 50 and don't get there. God damn it. So, and then that's what happened, right? I hit record again, and I get right into it, and I start off with just maybe 1 or 2 regular skips, and then I get right into the double unders, I think, or maybe I just went right into the double unders, but I figured I did 35, and then I was done. I'm like, okay, I did 35, I have it recorded, and I posted it online, And yeah, that's me. Trying to get back into it and feeling pretty good. I love skip rope. I love jump rope. And I thanked Chris on the Facebook group. I showed the video. I shared the video. He saw it. I thanked them for the inspiration because I want to be able to take him up on his challenge. And he's quick to Chris is a badass. This guy Chris. I call him Raw Dog again. He's a badass. He's run 50 milers. He's into we're Facebook friends, so I'm able to like snoop around. Chris, that's what people do, right? Facebook friends. They say, oh, who am I friends with, right? So I see who I'm friends with Chris is he runs a lot, he trains in CrossFit, and he has a family of badass martial artists. That's at least my perception. And they're an athletic family. So, when I shared my video and I thanked him for his inspiration, he's like quick to say, yep, he's working on a couple other movements that he can't wait to share. And he's gonna, as soon as he's ready, it's like, boom, more challenges. I'm like, that's awesome. You know what? And, let's see what those are. And, if there are things that I want to do, and, it sounds like a lot of fun, all in the name of, competition, friendly competition, trying new things, getting stronger, getting healthier, and hopefully staying injury-free, right? Awesome. Yep. Thanks, Chris, for that. Cool, man. I really want to knock out 50, and I'm sounding like an asshole, right? I want to knock out that 50 using the ropes I have because I don't want to spend any money on some new, speed cable jump ropes, So yeah, that's that. Anyways, wanted to say, folks, I didn't give it on my update, but when I attempted my last long run, I wanted to let folks know that I loaded up an iPod with 2 podcasts that I wanted to catch up on. I loaded up with several episodes of each podcast. One being the Endurance Planet podcast. I like hearing the Ask the Coaches episodes with Lucho and Tawny, and the other podcast was the Simply Human podcast. I had episodes to catch up on and re-listen to because they're freaking hilarious. Mark Rogers and Rick Bentley, and so yeah, I just want to put that out there that along the way I was able to learn a bit and have fun and have tons of laughs. And who knows, it may have negatively impacted my time or my performance out there on my long run, but who cares? It did keep my mind occupied, and it's just something that I'm learning to do more often, because in the past I've not really listened to anything on the long runs. But when I train or my regular daily runs, I'll listen to stuff. But then, when I start out really early in the morning for the super long, not super long, but for like the 40 milers or the 50 mile attempts and stuff, I gotta like listen for like critters, right? And it's dark and I gotta pay attention to what's out there. So yeah, this time around, like, I should be able to figure it out. And I loaded up the iPod separate from my iPhone. I loaded up with several episodes. I try to estimate how long I wanted to be out with how many hours of listening enjoyment that would be. But yeah, I wanted to let folks know, you guys can do the same. Listening to podcasts are awesome. So yeah, what do I want to say? Oh, this is very important. This should help. If nothing that I've said so far has anything to do with that is helpful, at least this should help. Okay, here's a tip. Especially for you germaphobe listeners out there. So, the other day I was at the restroom. Right? I was at the guy's restroom because I'm a guy. And I'm standing at the stall, right? Well, I walk up to an available stall to take a leak. Somebody's already there, not the same one. No, at a different stall. He's standing there, and then I start doing my thing at my stall, and I realize, I'm the only one taking a leak here, right? And the guy's standing there, both hands are thumbing through his phone. He's texting like a demon, standing there in front of the stall, And no, I'm not thinking about, I wonder how long his dong is. No. I'm thinking he's gonna have to put that phone away, right? Hopefully he doesn't drop it. Then it got me thinking about germs. Then it got me thinking about like germs and phones, right? And it got me thinking about if there's ever a time where I need to see another dude's phone and hold it, I'm going to stop myself. Why? Because just in that scenario, it got me thinking about how gross people's phones can be, because you never know what they've been touching before they touch their phone, right? Because the guy can't be texting and then somehow magically whipping out his penis to take a leak. You know, he's got to use either his left hand or his right hand to whip it out before he can start like thumbing like a madman on his phone. So, yeah, so don't touch another man's freaking iPhone or cell phone, because you never know where that stuff's been. Yeah, kind of germophobia, but you know what? You would too. I mean, it's not appealing for me to, touch another man's penis germs with my hands, okay? That's just not my thing. It might be somebody else's thing, but it's not my thing. So, note to self, tip, never mess with another man's iPhone. Yeah. Oh, I just want to put this out there. So, one of my kids attends a swim school, and it's awesome. It's nice watching him learn and do stuff that I've never done as a kid, that I never got a chance to do as a kid, and I'm very proud of my son and what he's accomplishing at the swim school. But I tell you what, and I'm going to sound like a racist, I'm going to sound like a dork, I'm going to sound like an asshole, but it's just where we live, right? And there's probably some, like, it's not just where we live, it's also maybe socio-economical. I don't know. I'm not a freaking genius. I'm not, I'm just making shit up now, okay? But what I do know is when I'm at swim school, like a lot of parents that hang out and they just waste time talking to other parents or other family members that happen to be along, waiting for their swimming child to do their thing, right? And at some point, because it's like every, half hour, there's another session. So there's these like waves of children coming through to do a swim session, which means there's a wave of parents, guardians, family members coming to wait on these bleachers. And some hours, it's not as crazy, it's not as busy, but on some other hours, it's just how I've described. It's like a cage full of cackling people. And I say cackling because, like, it's just like, 95% Asian. And I'm not going to specify what type of Asian, ethnicity, whatever country. It's just say Asian. And everyone's talking their dialect, their language, in a small confined space where noise will bounce off tiles and glass, and oh my god, I gotta like pop my earphones on and play music or something. But it's just crazy, And then swim session's over for my kids thing, and that means several other kids, and for whatever reason, people just linger smack dab in the middle of the walkway, the hallway, whatever. I don't know if it's like just a weird Asian thing, like maybe it's like, I don't know, there's no mindfulness to like, oh, let's move away from the middle of the walkway so that we're not blocking anybody. And this is not just one, it's like a good majority of the bodies that are there are just not clearing the way. So it's annoying, right? It's annoying. And so you're like in a crowded freaking subway train. So we get through we get to mess with that, and then you're either in a locker room getting yourself changed, or you're in one of the bathrooms / family rooms. And here's the thing, it gets crazy in the locker rooms with everybody, so I duck into a bathroom with my kid and get him changed there. Meanwhile, I also get a chance to relieve myself without having to leave my kid unattended. So, and it never fails. We're in these rooms, and other families, other people use these bathrooms the same way to dress and undress, and obviously to relieve themselves. So, we're in there. What do you do when you go into a restroom? You lock the freaking door, right? So, we're in there, the door's locked, and then at some point you hear somebody messing with the door handle, right? Because they want to get in. So then, okay, they jiggle it. They don't get in. Why? Because it's locked, so they can't come in. So what does that tell you as the person who's jiggling that door handle? Oh, somebody's in there. Somebody's using it. Okay. And that's what I would think, right? And then I would leave it as that, and I would patiently wait. But what happens here never fails, right? Minutes later, knock, 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 knock. Someone's pounding on the fucking door, right? And I'm pissed, right? It doesn't take long for me to get pissed here because, it's clear, and I've said it out through the door too. It's locked because we're in here, we're using it, right? And other times it's me saying, why are you knocking? The damn thing is locked. That means somebody's in here. I don't know. I don't understand it. What's going through people's head that they feel like, okay, someone's in there, let me knock. What? Why? Right? I swear that someday, and I don't care if it's a kid or a parent, I'm going to say something worse than what I've already said. Right? Ugh. God. It's like, what? Did we go in there and when we accidentally forget that we're in the bathroom and had locked the door, and that, we're supposed to leave when we're done? That we're just hanging out? Yeah. Fucking ass, man. Hate that shit. Yep. That's that. So I don't know what to take away from that. Maybe I need to learn patience. Maybe I need to put a sign in front of the door. There is no need to knock when it's locked. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's that, folks. So, I hope you guys, got something out of this episode. It's sort of like, it honestly becomes sort of like this weird, look into my life, but sometimes it's like, I don't know what to make of this whole thing, but I do have fun, and I do have this feeling that I have to update folks. So with that, I leave you alone. Thank you for allowing me to spend a good part of your day with my ramblings. I really, really appreciate you, and I hope you stick around towards the next episode. Please remember to check out RER170.com and smile. Thanks. Bye.
They say we are what we are, but we don't have to be. I'm bad behavior, but I do it in the best way. I'll be the watcher.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.